folks. I'm Julie and I run the Growing with Julie website, also known as Julie's, well, mainly known as Julie's Allotment on YouTube. But I've got the domains and everything registered for Growing with Julie. Anyway, I just wanted to chat about my dream. I know I brought it up before, and for those who are watching this who don't follow me on YouTube but are possibly interested in funding me, I'm currently a full-time carer. Well, yeah, you can class full-time. I care for my mum and dad, who are 88, 92. Now, obviously they're getting on, and as much as it hurts me to think, you know, at some point they're not going to be with me, and so I need to think ahead. So okay, it's not, might not be the right time. Some people might think I'm stupid trying to do something like this now, but a project like this would take several years to get going, and so if I can get organising it now and get the funding in place, get a piece of land, it's not going to take, even if I can't get everything sorted straight away, which no doubt I won't. Nobody in the right mind would be able to. Even if they had no caring or full-time job, you still won't be able to. It's a project that's going to take several years to get fully working. But at least if I have a piece of land and I've got a mower, then I can manage it and start planning, getting stakes and things out, getting it all, you know, planned out where everything's got to go. And basically something like this is going to keep me sane as a carer. It's not going to take that much time just to manage that, and hopefully, which is partly to do with this video, I'll be able to get people to who are interested in volunteering in a project like this, because it would be quite a big project. You've no doubt probably, if you're following me on GoFundMe, then you've probably read the text. But if you haven't, I've got it on the computer here. I've got a terrible memory for things, you know. I'm better to just read it out, the key points. So here are them, folks. So basically this project is all about purchasing a piece of land. Anywhere from an acre up to 5 acres of ground. Preferably 3 to 5 acres, something like that. And this part of this land would then be used for what I'm going to read out to you now. So there would be sensory gardens, things to stimulate people who are suffering, not suffering, well, possibly suffering from depression, but recovering from depression. But people, carers, if you're ever been caring for somebody, it's a very demanding time, and you need to have an escape now and again. So basically the idea behind this place is that it's going to be for normal folk, just like, you know, anyone, any Joe Bloggs on the street, but it's also going to be aimed at carers as well. So there's going to be things like sensory gardens. We're going to have communal plots, so this could be anyone, just little communal plots. They're obviously got to be maintained in that, because we don't want anything too scruffy in that. So if they've got a little plot, then they're going to have to maintain it. There'll be a fruit orchard. This will probably be approximately an acre maybe in size, that might be. If I could get hold of 5 acres, that is. And that would consist of all sorts of you know, when I say an orchard, it's not just going to be trees. It's going to be actually all about growing Leicestershire and UK fruit trees, bushes. These could include apples, plum trees, pear trees. Then there's going to be things like loganberries, raspberries, strawberries, all this sort of thing. This is not only it's very therapeutic to look after and see these things grow. You know, things like strawberries. You know, you see them fruit, the runners come out. You know, it's all about taking your mind away from everyday life. That's what it's all about, and that's a great way. Gardening is a great way of doing that. It's helped me over the years. I did suffer from depression many years ago, and it got me through it. Along with that, with my art, we'll talk about that a bit later. And so yeah, there's going to be workshops and looking after fruit. Hopefully, I mean, I certainly know I've had over 30 odd varieties of strawberries, and I grow raspberries and loganberries and rhubarb, etc. So I know all about those. But hopefully we've got other people like Nigel, I'm hoping, will get involved, and he'll be able to have a little chats and that about apples and all about that. And so yeah, so fruit tasting, folks. Well, if you follow my videos, you'll know that Nigel and I have been in 2015 we actually tried 72 varieties of apples, because Nigel he grows hundreds, and he creates new varieties by cross-pollinating. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to do some fruit tasting sessions where there'll be maybe a few people come along. You know, they'll be invited to these sessions, and then these things will all get videoed as long as everyone consents. But if some people don't, then they can be left out of the video. But it'll be video. But it's not going to just be apples. We'll do fruit tasting on the different varieties of fruit. For instance, if I had different varieties of strawberries, they'll be able to taste the different varieties and be able to give their opinions on that. So that's the other thing. There's going to be like virtual gardens, so that there might be one or two people who are watching my YouTube channel who are unable to have a piece of land themselves, or they might be too far away in a different country, or etc. And the idea is that they can provide some finance and say what they would like to be grown, and then we'll grow them, and they can actually then follow it throughout the year. The produce can then be passed on to deserving, sorry, I can't think of the words, people basically who need some fruit and veg. Or flowers. It could be flowers. The people who have got the virtual garden might be wanting us to grow flowers, and then we can just pass them on to people, you know, wherever, on the street, you know. I would like to. I've always classed myself as non-organic, but I would like to have a go at doing a comparison between organic and non-organic, and the one way of actually doing this will be to have two big polytunnels. The plan is to start with two 20 feet by 60 feet ones. One will be organic, one will be non-organic, and just basically mirror what's grown in one in the other. One using things like slug pellets, one not, and just showing you basically what happens, you know, the pitfalls or the successes have grown one to the other. You know, it might be that an organic one tastes better than a non-organic, or you know, you'll be able to see what happens if you you know, whether there is any difference. I don't know. You know, I know very little at the minute about organic ways of dealing with pests and that. So this is what it will all be about, and this will be videoed. You know, so this project would involve a lot of videoing. I would like to have some meadowland, so a piece of land set aside where it will just, over the years, it will grow wildflowers in it. Now throughout this piece of land there'll be mowed paths where people can walk through and just take in the sights and smells of the flowers and the wildlife that it attracts, you know, because you'll get lots of bees, you'll get all sorts of mammals and amphibians and what have you. What else we got? There would be a bit of scrub land that would encourage wildlife, you know, around the boundary, and they would have things like bird boxes and bat boxes and things distributed throughout. A little pond, so that would attract the amphibians, and it would also act as a source for the birds and that to take a drink, especially during the dry seasons. Hopefully it will bring in things like newts and maybe waterfowls and all that sort of thing. You know, waterfowls are getting quite scarce in some parts. Going to have cameras set up around the place, so they'll be filming day and night, and bits of those clips will be then added into videos now and again, and you'll be able to see what's going on when the doors are shut, so to speak. I'd like to have some painting workshops, so obviously there'll be places where there'll be lots of flowers and that be grown, whether wild or homegrown, and the idea is that either I or maybe some friends who I know would be able to come along and give either painting demonstrations or actually show you how to tackle these subjects yourself. It might not just be of the wildlife on the plot, it might be something else, but it will be based there and inspired from there. I've already mentioned about the polytunnels, so I don't need to go into that. You just have to bear with me while I scroll down. There'll be a little area with some poultry, because poultry is always good for everyone. You know, you can sit down and feed the hens and what have you, and you just feel so much better. Right, I think basically I've about covered everything now. It's alright. It's alright. I'm just getting confused. Yeah, so I think that basically covers it. So as you can see, there's a lot involved. So I need to get a piece of land, I need to get a mower, I need to get a secure shed to put the mower in, what's going to be on site. We need a communal shed so we're able to have cups of tea and a chat when, you know, when it's either too hot or maybe if it's wet, you know, so we can actually dry off, most important. Then there's obviously going to be all the other bits and bobs what are going to be needed. There's going to be lots of wire mesh, you know, you need to protect the trees, you're going to have wire, you're going to have canes, you're going to have rope to lay out the grid and everything, where everything's going to go. There's so much, there's cameras, there's a lot involved. The figure what you see if you're watching this GoFundMe is just to get it really started. There's going to be more money which will be required. I'm hoping to be able to put in for grants, because with it being catering towards people who are carers, and there's several million of us in the UK who are carers. A lot of them don't have. They might not know about such what's available out there. I'm lucky. I've got support, so I do know that there's things out there. But certainly this sort of project's going to help those. I think I've basically about covered it. You'll have to go on GoFundMe or check me out on Facebook under Growing with Julie. There is 2 Facebook groups, Growing with Julie. One is Polytunnel, one is just plain old Growing Anything. So there's 2 there to join if you haven't already joined. I'm also on, I've got a Google community called Growing with Julie. I've got a website, but there's nothing on it. I've took it down. I had a lot of issues. I was trying out WordPress, and I think, to be honest with you, I might go back to the previous way I was doing it, website, because I do that myself, the designing, and I might integrate some sort of forum or whatever into it, rather than just having the whole site revolving around it. So that's it, folks. That is my plan, and for this to succeed, I'm looking for people locally who can assist me in various duties, who want to volunteer in a project like this, because it's going to attract, if we can get it going. I mean, that's if. Even it's going to be a long way if we do get it going, but if we can, there's going to be I'm going to need people with gardening experience to help me. There's going to be people who know about wildlife, things like insects or mammals or whatever, birds, because it's going to attract all these things. I'm going to need some guest artists to come and help me out and give demos and that, because that's always a good thing. And especially if you've got, in the summer, if you've got the actual flowers and that growing, then that a lot of people would like to paint from real life. Personally, I prefer to paint from a photo, but that's just my choice, but and that could very, I just see no reason why we couldn't bring some photos along to these sessions, and then you can produce your painting from that. I've personally got thousands of photos of flowers, so that's not really a problem at all. So that's it then, folks. I think I've babbled on enough. That's what my dream is. I've got this site on GoFundMe. I'll put a link under this video, and the only final thing is, if the project didn't succeed, and it's a lot of money to start with, I'm trying to raise 60,000 to get it going, because the land price is so expensive. But if it didn't, then let me just read, because I've got it down here. So let's just go into the bottom bit. Right. So if, for instance, we only raise a few £100 or whatever, or just a couple of thousand or something, if that was the case and we couldn't go ahead with this sort of project, then the money would go towards my personal allotment upkeep, which I would make better. I would also be able to get out on more of these shows, so I'd be able to film those. I'd donate some to the allotment association where I'm working. Well, I'm not working, where I've got my plot on. And also there's a couple of orchard projects which I help volunteering with, and I do the filming and that there, and I'm probably going to maybe get a little bit more involved with the work there, because they're at the early stages as well. So you know, they're quite big projects, so you know they could do with some money themselves. So that's basically what it's all about. So that's it, folks. I'm going to leave now. Thank you for watching.